Frak, this podcast, come and listen to us talk about Battlestar Galactica. It's a show that we're talking about. Hello, interwebs, and welcome to the Frak, this podcast. I am your sweaty host, Jesse Gender, and I am joined as always by...
It's Vera. Are you at least sweaty for fun reasons?
I mean, do you consider the gym fun?
No.
I mean, it depends on the day. Okay.
The answer is no. The gym is a nightmare. What is wrong with you?
Fair enough. Oh, wait, I need to see if, okay, I am on the right. I was just worried I was recording on the wrong microphone. I am definitely recording on the right microphone. We're all good people. No worries.
We went through this just yesterday.
I know. My computer is new, and I want to make sure that I'm actually doing it properly. So shush your face.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Mm-hmm. I guess not a new computer, but new hard drive is the thing. Anyways, yes, I just went to the gym. That's why I'm sweaty, and I look like a scuzz bucket. And I was also just cleaning cat litter. And you look very pretty. So it's a very different vibe for both of us right now.
It is an exercise in contrast, and unfortunately, the audience will not appreciate it because they will not see the difference.
Yes, Vera's wearing like a halter top and like has all her makeup on, and I'm just wearing gym clothes. So
I'll just go ahead and screenshot that, and maybe I'll do something with it later.
Of course you will. Of course you will. Well, how have you been in the 24 hours since I saw you, Vera?
I got pictures back from the most recent photo shoot I did. I can't remember if I told you about this or not.
No, I don't think you did.
Was it was sort of it was kind of a group shoot. It was a project called Fat Bodies in Nature. So it was I forget how many of us there were. It was like 12 people. Mm-hmm. All together of very varied sizes. So before anybody jumps in, he goes, Vera, you're not fat. Yes, I am. Shut up. And there's nothing wrong with the fact that I'm fat and I'm hot. But like we had a very wide variety of body shapes. I was by far the tallest person there. But you know, there were cis women, there were non-binary people, there were some trans masc folks. There was me as a trans femme folk. But we did a number of things, you know, taking sort of group pictures. The photographers brought these flowers that were like all these colors of the rainbow. So they'd have us take turns like being in the center and being the focus, and everyone else had the rainbow flowers around them.
Oh, that's cute.
No, and then we got a little time each of us got a little time with the photographers for some individual stuff as well. So it was good. Nice. It was a good time. It was it felt nice.
Yeah, I need to get like nice photos of me. I don't really have any good headshots or anything like done by a professional photographer. So,
yeah. Now this is my third professional shoot this year.
Oh, nice. I just need to figure out. I mean, there's definitely enough people in LA to do it.
Like you don't have an issue with finding somebody. The number of photographers that I would be comfortable with in Vermont is a much shorter list.
Yes. No, LA is stock full of them. The problem is they cost a bunch more, probably.
Well, it kind of depends what they see. It's funny. The photographer, it wasn't the only photographer I've shot with, but I've shot with her repeatedly this year. What she does fairly frequently, because like if you get a full shoot with her, like a full dedicated lengthy shoot with her, yeah, it's very expensive. But what she will do at a couple of points, and there's more later this year, but I can't. I need to stop. At a certain point, I'm like, I can't jump on every opportunity. Like that's my gut instinct.
Yeah.
But she does. She has what she calls mini sessions, where she basically sets a day, and maybe it's in her own shooting space, or maybe it's at a location. But she sets a day with a theme. Mm-hmm. So it's like if it's in her shooting, like the first shoot I did with her, it was Gothic Valentine was the theme. Ooh. So that's what the space was set up to be. And everyone who books it, you come in, your makeup is already done. Mm-hmm. You bring your outfits with you. You get basically a half hour, however much you get shot in that time. So while it's not a good idea for anyone who isn't used to modeling, because they would want, something more relaxed and the time to get comfortable. If you're somebody who is, they're way, way, way cheaper than the full sessions, and it's a chance to get in, get the shots, get out.
Yeah.
And they're still gorgeous.
Yeah, because I can do my own makeup, but I'm not like super, super great at it, so I'd probably want someone to pay someone to do that for me, which would be nice.
I mean, most photographers that do portrait work are usually in contact with at least a few makeup folks that they'll partner with for stuff like that.
And I mean, I have friends. That I can also definitely do as well, makeup people. I can call back my friend Rosa, who did my Ferengi makeup for my Ferengi video. So, can be done. Easily can be done. Rose is great.
So, Ferengi boudoir shoot, when?
I know. I almost did. I came close.
You should have.
I know. Alas, I didn't make that sacrifice for all of you. Which, speaking of, we're talking about...
You would have loved every second.
Oh, I would have loved every second. Yes. But we are talking about the Battlestar Galactica episode Sacrifice, a.k.a. what I'm sure is Vera's favorite episode of this show.
AKA, well, that was 40 minutes of my life, I guess.
Spoilers, I'm sure, I don't know what Vera's opinion on this episode is. She has not told me, but I usually watch the episodes the night before. Vera watches it right before we do the podcast. Generally speaking, I don't know if you actually did that.
No, pretty reliably, that's what I do.
Yeah. So I messaged Vera last night after watching this episode going, oh boy, you're going to love this one.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know my tastes and my hang-ups well enough at this point that you just can tell pretty reliably.
Oh, I knew like 2 seconds in. I'm like, oh, this is this. Because I knew what this episode was coming. It's a big one for a big thing that happens in it. So,
again, I feel like we'll get into what my problems are. I don't know if I have an angry rant in me or not. I'm just kind of exhausted because I think I said this last time or maybe the time before. I feel like the show is baiting me. I feel like I'm trying to meet it halfway because after Resurrection Ship ticked me off so much, I'm like, I need to calm down and try and meet this thing where it's at and not, try not to get that upset about it taking turns that I'd rather it didn't or that I think are ill-advised. Like, I'm not saying I won't still complain about this, but I need to try and take it on its own terms. And ever since I made the decision to try and do that, it just throws more and more stuff that I fucking can't. Like, god damn it.
I know I keep saying this refrain, but like, please just give us till the end. Like, we are so close. We're so close. There's an episode coming. I'll just say the last 3 episodes of the season and then going into season 3. Like, there's a marked shift that will happen in this show.
Good.
And it will help. I'm not gonna say it's gonna fix every problem.
Well,
but I will say it will have a shift.
I don't expect it to. The same man's gonna be running it. But like, God.
You will know it when it happens, but there is a distinct shift in this show that we will get to. It'll be very obvious when you're like, oh, this is now doing a different thing. And
I welcome it. I am very excited for this show to start doing a different thing versus whatever the hell this is. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, it's kind of shocking to me that this is not necessarily in contention with Black Market for worst episode. I'm actually gonna pull up IMDb real quick.
They actually have I was looking at this. I think Rolling Stone has a list of worst episodes, and this is down there. Like, they ranked every episode of Battlestar Galactica, and this is near the bottom, but it is not at the bottom.
Yeah. So going by IMDb, oh geez, that is a huge jump. So Black Market IMDb episode rating on this. Mm-hmm. And they have a comparable number of votes. 2.3 on Black Market, 2.2 on 2.1 on this. Black Market got a 6.4 as its rating. Mm-hmm. This is a 7.
I'm looking at the Rolling Stones has a ranking. I was just curious about it. It has a ranking of every episode of Battlestar Galactica ranked, including the movies and such. And Black Market is the worst considered one, number 77, because they rank the movies and everything. Whereas Sacrifice is not much higher at 72.
I mean, we'll see what else is out there, but that doesn't seem too far off.
And I actually will say the rest are like from seasons 1 and 2, weirdly enough, in this like low stuff, like season 3 and 4. Like there are some in the low ranks for season 3 and 4, but they're up higher. So again, I'm getting happier in my consideration of season 3 and 4 being considered better.
Here's my question: Where's Resurrection Ship Part 2?
Yeah, that's a good.
And is it higher than Part 1?
Let's see. I am curious here. Ooh, it's up high.
Of course it is.
Just going. Oh wow, it's way up there.
God damn it, man!
I had to load a different page.
Oh,
let's see. Oh god, still going. It's got to be in the top 10 now.
Jesus!
Yeah, Resurrection Ship Part 1 is number 9. And Resurrection Ship Part 2 is number 8.
Oh, fuck off.
And also Pegasus is number 10 before both of them. So
that
that 3-parters all chunked together. But the rest of the top 10 are all seasons 3 and 4 outside of one episode. So I'll take that. Yeah. We'll get there. Also, because we are getting close to it, I'll at least mention this to the audience so they can prepare themselves, because I was just looking at stuff. We are going to be, just so you have Vera, I won't say what it is, but between seasons 2 and 3, I won't say what it's about because it give away things, but between seasons 2 and 3, there were a bunch of mini episodes.
Yes, you've mentioned that before.
Yes, that we will be watching. That will just consider its own episode because comes out to be about 30 minutes of content.
Okay.
So we'll watch it as its own episode. It's a lower budget thing, obviously, but we'll do our own podcast on it. So.
All right. Cool.
Alrighty, let us get into Sacrifice, because it's going to be a very fun episode to talk about. All right, we start off with we are in a woman's quarters, and she's very clearly a form of conspiracy theorist. Her name is Shesha, as we'll later learn. But she has a bunch of
let's back up for a second. We need to back up to before the episode started. And we need to start with the previously on.
All right.
Because I knew I was going to hate this just from the previously on, because the previously on was Billy and Dee, and then Dee and Lee. I'm like, fuck. So before the episode proper even started, I knew I was not going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's the first stuff in the previously on. It's not like that's sprinkled in with other stuff. That is priority 1.
Oh yeah, of course.
Of the previously on.
Of course. I will at least give this episode this, as we'll get into it. Lee still coming away looking okay, you know?
he does okay.
Yeah. No one else does.
If you just get right now, it's like the quality of Lee as a character and the quality of the episode overall, never the twain shall meet. Like, we need to get more crossover in the Venn diagram of Lee is actually a decent character and the episode is actually good. Because right now, that is like the tiniest sliver of crossover between those two things. For the most part, we're getting one or the other.
Yeah. All right, well, we go start off the episode after the previously on. We're watching this woman named, who will later again learn his name, Sesha. She is some form of conspiracy theorist. She has a bunch of articles that she's written. Generally, they seem to be pretty correct, or at least swinging towards correct, because she has things like Can Silence Reproduce? There's a Sharon Valeri who's still around. So her conspiracy theory stuff seems to be generally accurate to what we know is going on in the Galactica.
And she does straight up have a conspiracy board. The only thing it's missing is the red string.
Yes, very much so. And as she's sort of writing and coming up with stuff, we get flashes of what we'll later learn is, I think, her spouse or husband dying during a Cylon attack.
Yes, explosive decompression and shot out into space.
Yes, not a good way to go. So.
There aren't very many of those if you actually stop and think about it for a minute.
Well, I heard drowning is great. That's why I'm probably planning on making my clone do that.
And suddenly we're in the Prestige. Okay.
I don't know why that came to my brain. Anyways, yes, she's also very clearly obsessed with the existence of tumor. We get a couple hints of her looking at information on that. All right, we then cut to the Bridge of the Galactica with Adama, Roslin, and Ty. Or sorry, excuse me. No, this is Adama's quarters with Adama, Roslin, Billy. I don't think Ty's actually there. Sorry,
no, Ty's not.
I jumped ahead to a different conversation.
Yep.
Anyways, basically Roslin's talking about the fact that people around the fleet have heard about tumor. They hear them listening to the news. Then they're sort of like talking about rumors that there's a Cylon model on the Galactica. And so Adama's sort of questioning, how did this get out to the press? And Rosalind's saying, well, you've been meeting with her. She's, you've been allowing people to like see her. Adama goes, well, she's a military asset. We use her for information. And Billy sort of points out, well, how do people not know that she's not? How do you not know she's not somehow colluding with other Cylons? And Adama says, well, if I thought that, I would pull the trigger myself. And then Billy points out very forcefully, for someone in his position, says, I think the fleet may need to hear that, Admiral. Even more, they need to believe it. So.
Yeah, which is honestly a valid point, because that's, I mean, I believe Adama, but whether or not I know that what he's saying is true doesn't help the situation of public perception.
Yes, very much so. So, yes. And then afterwards, Billy and Roslin are in the quarters, and Roslin sort of praising Billy, being like, someone ate their vitamins this morning. But then she compliments him on saying that, and she says there's no roadmap for any of this. We need people asking the hard questions. And she wants to acknowledge the Cylon existence and make the case for her staying on the Galactica. And then Billy makes arguments like we should trust the people and just lay out all the information to them and saying we're not going to destroy the only information that we have.
Yeah, so basically his suggestion is to admit to the public how little they know about the Cylons so that it becomes clear why they can't get rid of this asset.
Exactly. So, he's again being a little idealist here, but Roslin seems, kind, is not impressed, maybe be the wrong word, but sympathetic. It's like, oh, just that simple, huh? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, yes, he is being a little naive, a little overly optimistic about how it would go down if they took his suggestion. But he is still thinking in political terms and public perception terms, which, yeah, good. That's his job.
Mm-hmm. But then Billy sees Dee walking down the corridor and asks Rosalind if he can go after her to talk to her. And then we cut to the scene where Billy basically proposes to Dee by giving her his, I think, class ring or whatever it is.
No, it's his, it's like his debate club ring.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, it shape-wise, it's a very kind of traditional class ring kind of looking thing.
Yeah, and he basically goes like, look, I loved you. I'm being presumptuous, but and I'm blindsiding you, but I loved you since the first day I met you. We can go slow. And then Dee says, Billy, I can't marry you. I don't know how else to say it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I saw that scene and I'm like, here we go.
Whee!
Yeah, it's so weirdly done. Like, the scene is so weird because he just puts the ring on her finger and just never lets her talk for a good amount of time. It's just
yeah, she tries to start and he's like, look, we don't have to right away. And you get this dude, no, but you know why they did it like that? Mm-hmm. To up the emasculation.
Oh yes, of course.
Because they had to show how committed he was to this idea before they cut him down at the balls.
Yeah, I know.
Not even at the knees. They were aiming higher.
What made look, you and I have different levels of acceptance for cringe comedy, but the moment he starts putting the ring on her finger, I was even like, oh no, oh this is painful. Like it physically hurt me, that one. And I have a much greater tolerance for cringe comedy than you do.
Yeah, I have pretty much zero tolerance
Yeah.
or close to it. My tolerance for cringe is so low it's negligible. And then add to the fact that I also don't really believe in marriage very much. I don't judge anyone who does it, but like you're never going to tug at my heartstrings by having a proposal scene. So like, yeah, this is just painful and falls flat. See, the thing is, like, I didn't enjoy it, but it didn't even hit me with the cringe that hard because I don't fucking care if you propose, dude. Like, if I were your friend, I would have told you that's a stupid idea anyway. So I don't even have enough investment to have the same level of cringe hit me that is even trying to do, which might even be in its favor. I would have hated it more.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Billy is emasculated by Dee. Cut to Cloud 9, where Dee and Lee are having a nice meal.
Okay. Can we pause for a minute? Let's set the shipping shit aside for a moment. Can we talk about Cloud 9?
Sure.
Can we talk about the fact that 2 episodes ago, we were talking about how there isn't enough, like, nobody's destitute and desperate, but there aren't really enough resources for comfort. That's why the black market is a thing. And we cut to a scene where everyone's dressed up real nice and it's a fancy restaurant. We see waiters carry stuff and it's packed. I wouldn't hate this if I thought for even a second the show was ever going to interrogate the fact that there is a luxury ship that has gone back to being a fucking luxury ship when the human population is so low that one person is able to keep track of it on a fucking whiteboard. That they have still recreated haves and have-nots in a situation where there is incredibly limited resources and a countable number of people left. I wouldn't hate this if I thought the show was ever going to interrogate that. And I don't trust that it will. If it does, I'll be pleasantly surprised. The closest it ever came was like a season plus ago when Zarek pointed out, why do we have a gardener taking care of Cloud 9 still? That was literally the only acknowledgement of this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, we have a fancy restaurant.
Fuck off, man. Again, like, if the show... It's a bit like when Garibaldi would drive me crazy. This actually could be really cutting, especially with what's about to happen. This could have been one of the things raised by the people who are about to come and cause a hell of a lot of problems. I understand it wouldn't have been their primary thing, but if it had been like in the list of reasons they're pissed off, that would have been something. So like even in this episode, they have the opportunity to point at it and go, yeah, we know this is kind of fucked up. The show doesn't know. The show doesn't realize what it's doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, they're here. Dee is telling Lee about Billy's marriage proposal and says, I just know I can't marry him. I don't know what to make of him. And I don't even know what to make of you and me either.
And we're back on this bullshit. Why is there a you and him at all? Like, seriously, why?
Well, then we cut to, it turns out Ellen Ty is also here. Vera's face at that. But she runs
this should give you an idea of my feelings about this episode. Ellen, in a minute, is about to be one of the highlights.
Yes. She's actually not terrible in this episode, you know. She's Ellen, but like tolerable. Anyways, she runs into the conspiracy theorist who's at the restaurant who has a gun, though Ellen doesn't notice that. But clearly we're being set up that the conspiracy theorist Sesha is about to do something here. After the commercial break, we have Lee going to get drinks at the bar where he runs into Ellen and just sort of chats her up for a second. And we see a bunch of other, like 3 other guys with the conspiracy theorists who are sort of maneuvering around the restaurant. But then Billy runs into D, and it's very awkward. And he's trying to be nice. He's like business as usual. You know, just nice seeing you. Whatever. But then Lee comes back, and then he realizes what's going on, and he gets all indignantly angry, like, "Oh, I guess I really am an idiot, aren't I?"
I mean, like, here's the thing. Is Billy a little bit childish about this? Yes. At the same time, one of the first points he makes is, you should have told me.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is the point that I wanted to get to, because I am on Billy's side until he says one line. There's one line that Billy says that I'm like, fuck off, Billy. You can go fuck yourself. But to this point, like, yes, he did deserve, like, not that if someone's dating multiple people, they need to tell somebody, like, who exactly they're dating, but you should be clear that, like, I'm seeing other people. Not even just for, like, just set the terms of the relationship, and also for safety, especially if you're having sex.
Yeah. Like, the first point that he made is, like, look, I didn't necessarily expect that we'd be together forever or would always work, but I did expect you to be honest with me.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair.
Is incredibly fair.
Yes, that is fair. Lee, sort of realizing how awkward this is, goes back to the bar with Ellen. And then this is where Billy gets all angry. And he at that point is correct. However, he has one fucking line where he says, "You knew you were going to be here with him today, and let me propose to you."
That is a bullshit line, because, dude, you didn't let her get a word in edgewise.
Yes, fuck off, Billy. Like, I get you're angry, but, like, she didn't let you propose to him or to her. Like, fuck off with that.
That was a thing you did to her. You sprang that on her. Was she supposed to read your mind?
Yes, exactly. That's the one that I just literally wrote my notes. Fuck off, Billy, with that bullshit.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely wrong about that one.
Yes, the rest of his anger is justified, and it is understandably a little bit heightened because of the emotion of the situation, what he just had, the emasculation he just experienced. However, that line did piss me off.
And again, the problem isn't that he said it; it's that there's no pushback on it. Because, like, you could argue that he was upset and he just said that just to be angry, but Dee needed to push back on it, be like, no, fuck off. Yeah. If I thought the show was prepared to take the stance of he's justified to be angry, but he took that anger in an unfair direction, maybe I could give the benefit of the doubt. I have no faith that the episode as a whole actually believes that.
Yeah, very much so. Anyways, Lee and Ellen are talking to each other, and Ellen is just going, it's like, oh, it's so hard to love only one person at a time. People like us are more complicated.
Honestly,
which implies she's sleeping around on Ty right now.
Well, like, we kind of knew that, though.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe, here's the thing. Maybe we'll get the specifics on this, but things we already knew. One, we heard from Adama way back when she first showed up again that, like, she was banging like everybody on the base. Mm-hmm. And that was like a known thing. But more importantly, in my mind, there was that time where, like, she and Ty were, like, making out in the hallway, and Baltar showed up, and she seemed to be trying to invite him, and Ty maybe not being the most into it, but also didn't really seem to, like, get upset or angry about it. So until proven otherwise, I am taking an open marriage perspective on Ellen and on Ty. Not a healthy open marriage, to be clear.
Oh, yeah.
Just
nothing about their relationship is healthy.
No, absolutely not. To be clear, folks, just because both people have agreed it's okay that we're in an open relationship doesn't mean that it can't still be toxic as fuck, even in the specific open aspects of the relationship. However, until I have evidence that makes this no longer a viable thing to believe, I am choosing to believe that they are in an open marriage, which is why I actually kind of like this exchange from her. Because, honestly, kind of agree. I tried to do the one-person thing repeatedly. It went very badly. Every time.
Well, Lee, as Ellen is talking, notices the woman and her gun and all the other guys surrounding the bar, and so Lee says we should go to the bathroom, which Ellen takes as Lee propositioning her for sex. Like, oh,
again, like a little presumptuous on her end, but also like, you know what? I may not think Ellen's a good person. I kind of want to go out drinking with her. I like.
Oh yeah, it would be fun. I would like to be there. So like, just to like hear her talk shit about like people that I knew. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to drink her out drinks, being like, let's just talk shit about everyone. I want to hear all the.
Be the toxic friend for like an hour and then let me walk away.
Yes. And then you can chat about me behind my back. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, because I know you will, you bitch.
Anyways, they get to the bathroom, but Lee obviously stops Ellen, like makes her aware of puts his hand on her mouth and say, "Just be quiet," and he starts looking out the bathroom at the gunman. But then the terrorists decide to take the restaurant at that point. They close the door and pull guns and take everyone else hostage. And Lee notices that there's 3 men and 1 woman, being Sesha. So.
Yep.
Then we cut to a scene between Adama and Toomer, and he's asking Toomer for military information, like where to avoid running into some Cylons and such. Just being a science nerd, before we actually get to the meat of this, he does mention wormholes at one point, which I'm like, wow, that's weird. But like, wormholes are like a big deal, and we never it never really comes up at any point during this series. Like, wormholes never come up again, and wormholes are would be a legitimately big deal, and it's just weird that it's just offhandedly mentioned. So.
I kind of took it as he believes that is something that the Cylons are using, but the fleet doesn't necessarily have. I kind of took it as like him just floating ideas. Like a list of things that maybe they are utilizing, as opposed to like it's definitely a known quantified thing.
Mm-hmm. I guess so. It seemed to me like it was just came across as like, oh, this is like a sort of generally known military thing.
I mean, possibly. My brain kind of innately brushed it off because I'm like, well, that hasn't come up before. And as a general rule, in a sci-fi show, if wormholes are a thing, they're a big deal.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare you get a casual wormhole.
Yes, outside of Slider, and even that was kind of a big deal.
Well, no, even that, it was like, they happened regularly, but it's like, it was still the core premise of the show.
yes, pretty much. Yeah, so I just thought that to be an interesting, like, oh, it was just an offhanded thing, but I was just like, oh, interesting, that's just a thing, I guess. Anyways, Toomer is more interested in asking, is like, do people on the fleet know about me? Which Adama at first dodges the question, does not answer it. And...
Now, here, for me, the question is, what happened that made her suspect that people know? Because, like, he was asking the question before, how did this get out? And there is a reasonable answer to that. Like, she's been here long enough that it's going to get around to some degree. Like, it's not like she's in 100% isolation and unviewable by anybody. Like, a few people will know, they'll tell somebody, that'll tell somebody, like, it'll get around. What's harder for me to pin down, and what he seems to have no questioning of, is why does she think that's even a possibility? Because the timing of her asking that question on the same day that Adama has found out that, yes, people do know about her, should be suspect as fuck.
I mean...
Except it's a writing contrivance, which is why the character's not questioning it.
I mean, I could buy it, given we've seen people like Hilo and Starbuck be able to go and visit her regularly, and that was a news announcement. So I would presume that, like, maybe probably Hilo, would have mentioned it to her, and that's why she's bringing it up to Adama. That was my presumption.
Oh, interesting. See, like, the thing is, the show has kind of trained me to forget that Hilo exists if he's not on screen. And I am going to blame the show for that, because they trained me to treat Hilo that way in season 1. Yeah. Because clearly he never did anything off camera.
Yes.
So, like, I literally forget that he could be doing anything when he's not on screen, because I went through an entire season of him literally doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least doing nothing between screen appearances.
Spurts. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, she while they're talking about the different ways the Cylons could attack this fleet, she starts saying, well, the Cylons adapt. They know what you're good at, and they adapt to your every move. Excuse me. She says, well, the Cylons adapt to your every move, and Adama says, oh, adapt. That's what you're good at, right? And then she reiterates the question, does the fleet know I'm on Galactica? And he tells her that the fleet knows. There's also a quick mention of the baby kicking, but then he sort of sends her out. Ty comes in as she's heading out and says, if people knew how much you relied on her intelligence, it would scare the wits. They'd be scared out of their wits. And then Adama asks, like, how do you feel about it? And he says, I don't like the way it's gotten under your skin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Back in the hostage situation, Lee notices that the only way that people will be able to get in because they've locked down the door is that they, if a rescue team would get in, I should say, is with explosives or if they get these people to open the door. So he takes Ellen's dry ice drink and goes in the back walls of the room that they're in. The restaurant that they're in. But Ellen goes out of the bathroom like an idiot.
Yes, I literally wrote down, Ellen, you idiot.
Yes. And she tries to do the do you know who I am sort of thing. Yeah. Like I'm.
Yeah, I don't know what her plan was. Maybe she was counting on like the idea that these people thought they were just taking average civilian hostages, but now that they've taken like the wife of the XO, maybe they'll realize they're in over their heads and bail. Maybe that's her plan.
Yeah, but that's just dumb because because it's just like you just gave them more leverage.
Yeah, you just gave them a better hostage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Ellen.
Yeah, which speaking of, the terrorists call Ty with Ellen, and Ellen sort of says they take it as hostage. And then Sesha, speaking about Ty and Adama, says, this is not about what I want. The colonial fleet has become a Cylon-occupied territory. We want Sharon, Valerie, you have 2 hours. And so, yep. Gata then, after commercial break, brings up some information about Sesha, mentions that she's the widow of a casualty who died 10 weeks ago, and then also they find out that Starbuck is also on Cloud 9 for R&R, conveniently enough. So she's, so Adama calls her to sort of lead the rescue team. Lee is going through the back wall rooms of the restaurant, which
actually, in hindsight, it is odd that he's having her lead the rescue team, because, like, it was a whole thing. The last time she was sent out on a ground mission, they had to justify her being there, and that was the whole thing when Zarek was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
And the justification was that she was the best shot, and they needed a sniper.
Mm-hmm.
Why is she there at all this time if there are actual Marines on board, and B, why is she in charge?
Yeah, I mean, again, I can buy it to a degree in the sense that, like, she might be the highest ranked person there that's available, and, like, she was just easily there. You know what I mean?
Except we're going to see she's the one who's, like, coming up with the plans. I'm like, this is not your area.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not, I understand you outrank everyone here, but this is a ground force issue. You're a pilot.
Yes.
Like, sit down. Like, if they need you there because you know how to handle a gun and they need more firepower, cool, fine. You should not be in charge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But she's a named character, so shut up.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah. Anyways, Lee is in the backroom walls, and I like this, actually. This is kind of very Die Hard on a spaceship idea that's kind of nice. Just because it uses the unique setting in a fun way. Because he takes the dry ice from Ellen's drink and uses it to start triggering the carbon dioxide sensor. He puts it right up again.
He basically just sets it under the CO2 sensor so that it thinks the oxygen levels are dropping.
Yes. So, which I thought was clever. Like it'll come back up a little. It doesn't like set it off just yet. But again, that's like Die Hard on a spaceship that actually uses the spaceship side of it in a clever way. So I like that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the terrorists start to mention. There's one of the terrorists starts to mention that he's worried about military types being there. So they send some guys to look in the bathroom, which this guy looks in every toilet, but doesn't find Lee, and Lee manages to take out this guy and get his gun.
Yep.
So we also get a quick scene, as I mentioned before, Starbuck meeting up with some Marines on Cloud 9 and being like, hey, buddy, what's going on? Let's lock and load. We'll figure out the rest as we go along. Sort of attitude.
Yes, which is interesting, given that last episode, one of the kind of points was that she's not as reckless as she used to be. And like she even notes, there was a time I would have just charged in, without a plan and just hoped it worked. And given that her actions in that episode and her own words both kind of implied that that's not really who she is anymore, at least not to the same degree, it's really odd that the very next episode she is charging in without a plan and just hoping it works. And again, look, I understand that character arcs and personality shifts are not a straight line. It's not a trajectory. People backslide and all this. But again, it was just last episode.
I know. Anyways, we have Lee come out of the bathroom with a gun on the back of this guy, the terrorist he has captured hostage, and he says, I just want to talk. But then Sasha pulls a gun on Dee, recognizing that she was there with him, and basically...
Well, no, she doesn't pull a gun on Dee. She has one of the other guys with her aim his gun at Dee. She points hers, well, I guess technically at the guy that Lee has a gun on, because he's in the way, and she doesn't have a bead on Lee.
Yes. Well, regardless, this threat is enough to get Lee to surrender, because she says if he dies, she dies, sort of thing. And so they...
See, you're kind of glossing over this. I actually liked this moment a bit for a couple of reasons. I liked that, it felt... I honestly feel like this scene did the best job in characterizing... What's her name again?
Sasha?
Thank you. I feel like this episode might have done the best job in characterizing her through action. Because while she feels all this is necessary, she has another guy actually aim the gun at Dee. And that's, it's because the show could have established, no, she is personally willing to, do this and pull the trigger. But she doesn't. She has somebody else do it. And the way she gets Lee to back down, because... she says, look, she's going to die. And Lee's like, well, if she dies, he dies. Don't you see how this works? And she says to him, yeah, the difference is you won't do it. He will. She doesn't even have to, make an argument that she's capable of it. She's pointing to a larger, more grizzled-looking guy who looks like the kind of guy who would be more willing to do it. And also, there are so many times I've seen some version of this, and maybe this was the reason you were a little bit more dismissive and glossing over the scene. The calling of the bluff of the hero is a very common way for this to resolve. That's actually probably how it resolves 9 times out of 10. But the thing is, more often than not in those scenes, it almost comes off as kind of trying to out-macho each other. The villain calling the hero's bluff is yeah, you're not enough of a man or whatever. But it really does legitimately have a different flavor when the person calling his bluff is a woman doing it calmly, who isn't even aiming the gun at the hostage they're threatening to kill. Still threatening to have a hostage killed, but she's not pointing the gun at Dee. She is speaking very calmly, and honestly, just having it be a woman gives the whole exchange a different flavor, and it felt way less cliched than it probably should have.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that scene happens. No, I agree. I agree with you. That's a good point. But yeah, that scene happens.
I hate you.
And then Sasha says that realizes that they now have an even better hostage. That like Adama's not going to choose a Cylon over his own son.
Yeah, they're just continually upgrading hostages.
Yeah, it's like, man, we just traded up. It's great. Yeah. I don't have to deal with this bitch anymore, Ellen. You're down. You're downgraded.
You are no longer the most valuable person. Can your ego handle that?
Yeah,
Ellen?
right. Also, just like being like, man, you know what? Maybe we'll kill Ellen if you like. They call back and Adama's like, kill Ellen and I'll give you the Cylon. Anyways, but this is when the CO2 detector does then go off. And Adama Lee points out, well, there's a reason you don't start shooting on a spaceship, is his excuse for why this is happening. All right, so then we cut to Starbuck is talking to Adama via the radio, but they get a call in from Sesha, who tells them that they're losing oxygen. We're all about to die. Are you willing to risk your son's life? So now Adama's aware that Lee is there in a hostage as well. And he, someone says, give her what she wants. I think that's Ty, maybe? I'm not sure. Oh, no, sorry. Ellen says, give her what she wants over the phone. Just in the background, you can hear. But
thanks,
Adama,
Ellen. You're so helpful.
I know. But then Adama says, I'm not going to sacrifice military assets. This is about the loss of your husband. You just want to strike back because you've lost people. And this obviously gets at Sesha, but she points out, like, look, Caprica's defenses were infiltrated by a Cylon, or at least so it seems. But then Adama says, well, people look for complicated answers when something bad happens. Maybe we were just caught by surprise and we're beaten. Maybe you have to learn to live with that. Which is interesting, considering, like, he has a good point there, but we do know for a fact that Sesha is right.
Yeah, this is the problem. On the one hand, I really appreciate in a vacuum what it is he's saying, because it very much cuts to the heart of conspiratorial thinking.
Mm-hmm.
People believing that
wanting to feel like there are these big complicated forces that are running our lives that make it easier to feel like the complicated scary world that we live in has some degree of like sense to it.
Yeah, because as convoluted and ridiculous as conspiracy theories are, there is a comfort in the idea that someone is in control.
Mm-hmm.
Because the alternative is nobody's in control and the world is a random just smashing together of events and particles and
we're just all monkeys living on a spinning ball floating through the endless void.
Which is a terrifying thought to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not to me. I actually find a lot of comfort in that personally.
Mm.
But like, to most people, that is a very unsettling thought, the idea that nobody is in control. So if the world's gone wrong, it's because someone bad is in control, and we have to find out who that is. And that's sort of the rabbit hole of conspiratorial thinking. And his response is a very good response to that. Like, you know, maybe it was all this stuff, but maybe we were just caught off guard, and maybe we need to just live with that fact.
Mm-hmm.
And it is all completely undercut by the fact that we know she's right.
Mm-hmm.
And which also, it's not, it would be incredibly reckless now. It was a little reckless then to have the conspiracist not just be broadly speaking right, but to be specifically right.
Yeah.
The specific things that this acknowledged conspiracy theorist believes, that Cylon helped break down the defense grid and that there was a Cylon on board Caprica, are both accurate and true. And I don't think it is a particularly good idea to validate conspiratorial thinking. Like, and again, that's not me saying you can't tell conspiracy stories, but she is the kind of conspiracy... She is a Pizzagate person. She is the exact kind of person who would have taken over a pizza parlor with an assault rifle, believing that there were locked up child traffic victims in the basement.
Yes.
She is exactly that person, and she's right.
Yes.
That's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Again, if it was coming out new now, I would be calling this out a lot more harshly, because we are living in the era of having to deal with this nonsense. Back when this happened, like, I'm not going to say it was good or responsible, but it wasn't as reckless to do it then as it is now.
Yes. Reminds me of a very good, actually good episode of Star Trek Voyager called The Voyager Conspiracy, where Seven of Nine has a thing go on with her brain. I forget what it was, but it causes her to go down a conspiracy theory rabbit hole. But she like argues a slightly different conspiracy to every person she talks to, and so she says, okay, well here's all this weird conspiracy nonsense that makes it look like Janeway's the bad person, and then here's the weird conspiracy that makes it like children. It's like all these complicated answers that could be used to justify whatever in slightly different ways. That was actually a decent look at conspiracy theory thinking. Whereas here, yeah, this is the problem. I'm also watching X-Files right now for the first time. I think I mentioned that before, and you actually like how that one handles it, because one, it is very anti-government, specifically like one autistic man is in a basement and he's going up against the government with a woman who kind of loves him and can actually speak to people. That
is a shockingly good description of that show.
Yes.
Actually, that might be the best description I've ever heard of that show.
In the government, there's one autistic man in a basement trying to figure out conspiracies, and there's one woman who can actually speak to people trying to help him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
you nailed it.
But what I do like about that is that Mulder, while he generally has the right beat on things with his conspiracy theories, he is actually a lot of the time like shown to be like, yeah, you're right, some weird shit's going down here, but you were like wildly off base in your first assumptions about this.
Yeah,
so,
like
the
your general approach and overarching beliefs, very valid. Your specifics? Nah, dude.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Again, it's conspiracy theory people get into. It's like, yeah, I get into the idea that United States government sucks. Maybe it's not, the Jews or Hillary Clinton hiding children in a basement, but like the vibe of the government sucks. I can get behind, I guess.
Yeah. Look, I'm with you on the government sucks and is deliberately making the lives of average citizens work. Worse. I can talk. Deliberately making the lives of average citizens worse. I'm with you there. You lose me when you start getting to the why and you start telling me about
Jewish space lasers or
cabals with the devil and Jewish space lasers and secret matrix running lizard people. Like, nope, sorry, no.
Yeah. Anyways, back to this. Yes, she says, well, anything that goes wrong, it's on your head. He says we need to repair the air system, but we can't give her Sharon. He says this to Ty. He's like, we can't give her Sharon. And Ty says, I know that we can't deal with terrorists. We open up that door and, the floodgates can open to all the rest of people doing it, which that was a very level-headed.
It's the standard, we don't negotiate with terrorists line, which, like, there's a lot of problems with the real world deployment of that notion, but within the simplifications of a fictional setting, yes, it is a fairly basic metric. We give into this now and it'll just encourage a bunch of other people to take a bunch of other hostages thinking that they can get stuff.
Yes, very much so. And I like, it could have been very easy to write Ty as like no, we should give, like, just be the opposite point of view, but he is fairly level-headed in that, I think, which I appreciate. But he also points out, it's like, I think you still see that young girl who reported here 2 years ago when she never was that. So he sort of points that out.
Yeah, well, he notes that because, as you noted earlier, Ty continues to call her it, but Adama calls her Sharon. So it's not even a difference of pronouns. He's calling her by a name, and Ty won't even grant her the personhood of she, her pronouns.
Yep, very much so. Yep. Trans vibes. Anyways, Starbuck is listening to all this, and Lee, I keep getting the Adama screwed up. Bill Adama, big boy Adama. He says, if we can get someone inside, we can do it, but get someone to volunteer, and of course, Starbuck herself volunteers. So.
Naturally.
Starbuck.
I think this was the point that I wrote down. This is pretty reckless, Starbuck, sort of. I kind of did my bit on this earlier, but boy, is this gonna snowball. Boy, was I so on point with that note.
Well, Starbuck does go in pretending to be a CO2 repair person. because they realize I should have mentioned, they do say at one point that they realize that the oxygen is not actually broken, and that they realize that Lee had set this up for them. So she goes in.
Adama and the folks on Galactica realize.
Yes.
The hostage takers don't.
Yes. So Starbuck goes in pretending to be a repair person, but she sort of gets her cover gets blown. So she pulls out a couple guns and starts Ramboing it. And there's a shootout. I mean, like,
just to make the point of how reckless she is being, she is not like tactically opening the door for the others to come in. She's not precision shooting these. She is full on Max Payneing this. Double guns, jump to the side. Like it, this, oh man.
Yeah. It honestly really feels like this should have come before last episode.
Yes, it really, really does, because especially off of the back of what was going on last episode, this is in such contradiction to what that episode tried to tell us about where she's at right now. Mm-hmm. And this one just pretends none of that existed, which I suspect is a consequence of knowing that they were making a bunch of standalone episodes and not really bothering to check character continuity between them.
Yes. Anyways, during this shootout, one of the terrorists is killed. One of the a couple of Marines are also shot, and Starbuck, most importantly, shoots Lee in a friendly fire moment. So Lee gets really badly injured.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess I'm glad that her recklessness has consequences, but again, like, this is a complete 180 from the much better done story we had last episode.
I know. Well, Dee runs over to try to help Lee as Starbuck and the rest get out, and calls for Billy to help. A terrorist pulls a gun on Billy, but Billy says, well, if that Admiral Sons dies, you're going to die, which, is true.
Yeah.
But then Starbuck calls Adama and explains what happened, and she seems very torn up about the fact that Lee was hit by her own friendly fire. At least she thinks it was her own friendly fire. Very clearly, probably was.
Well, I do like the way that comes out, because she's talking and she's sort of working up to that, because she says, we lost two of ours, we took down one of theirs. And also, Lee is down. And
I think it was friendly fire.
I think it was friendly fire. I think it was me. Mm-hmm. Like, she has to. I like that. I don't like this entire plot development, but I like that progression of the conversation, that she has to basically build up to saying what she's pretty sure she did.
Yes. Dee and Billy are helping Lee to try to stay alive, and Dee says, Lee, don't leave me, you can't leave me, sort of thing. We then cut to Adama talking to Toomer, and he basically asks her, it's like, are you playing us, are you playing me? And Toomer points out, it's like, how many times have I saved this ship? 5, 6 at this point? How long is it going to take for you to believe me? And he says, you know who the other Cylons are in the fleet. If I asked you, would you tell me who those Cylons are? And she says, no. And he says, that I believe.
Which is interesting, because it kind of speaks to something Adama said like a while ago, in regards to like Hilo pointing out that she was helping. He said, yes, for her own self-interest, because right now, because she doesn't know that the Cylons like know she's pregnant and think that's a good thing, she doesn't realize that they want her anything other than dead. So yeah, she has a self-interest and maternal instinct interest to keep herself alive and do what's necessary to do that, but she hasn't 180'd. She hasn't completely turned on whatever it is the Cylons believe and want to accomplish. She just doesn't want to die in the process of all that. And so she helps to the extent that it keeps her and her unborn child alive.
Well, I think she's also, I kind of read it slightly different. It's like, it's not just survival. I think she does have some level at least there's a potential for there to be some level of like she cares about the people on the Galactica. Now, whether or not we believe that or not it's up in the air.
I believe that she has that to some extent, but I also think that she also has to some extent some remaining belief in what the Cylons are doing.
That's what I was gonna get. That's what I'm getting to. I think like there's this conflict of like, you know, she's not going to betray her people to the point of like, you know, betraying all of them so they can get killed, but she seemingly has some level of care for the
crew
of the Galactica as well. So that's an interesting conflict there. So now whether or not you believe if she actually is an earnest thing or has been programmed into her or is whatever. So
I mean, again, the stance I'm currently taking is I think all of her emotions are sincerely felt by her. What I'm not sure about is whether those emotional responses are something she has any degree of control over. I mean, to the extent any of us can control our emotions. Mm-hmm. But like, I do wonder if the fact that she is responding this way to these circumstances is pre-programmed into her or not. That's the thing I'm questioning. I do believe that she sincerely feels whatever she expresses. It's just a question of, is there code underlying that she has no say over?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, we do have a quick little moment where a terrorist stops and says to Billy, "Oh, my brother, he was a good man," presumably one of the other terrorists who died, and Billy's
No. It was what's-her-face's husband.
Oh, yes.
Because Billy, brings that up. She lost somebody. I lost people too. We all lost people.
They're all good.
And then the guy says, it wasn't just her husband, it was my brother.
Yes. Well, he also says, my brother died on PyCon. They're all good men. So
that's what Billy says.
Yes.
Yeah.
So back on the Galactica, they're trying to figure out a plan. Rosalind's there. She turns down making a deal, even though they sort of said we probably need to because it would be too much C4 to break through. To get to where the hostages are.
The amount of explosive we need to take out that door is probably going to kill everybody in the restaurant.
Yes. Rosalind points out, it's like, yes, you don't Billy is also the closest thing I have to family as well, so you don't think my head's not kind of screwed up with all of this. Ty sort of asks, well, what if Sharon has been playing us? And Rosalind sort of says, this isn't about Sharon, it's about the way we conduct ourselves. Then the terrorists call again. Sesha says, I thought about how far I go. I didn't know until this moment. And she picks two people to shoot, one of whom is Ellen, and says, I'm going to shoot them if you don't give me Sharon. But Dama says, hold your fire. I'm giving you the Cylon, but she won't be alive. I can't take any more chances. You can have Sharon, but on my terms. I'll give you the body. You give me the hostages.
Yeah. Which I knew immediately what he was going to do.
Yes.
But also is a decent negotiating tactic, even if he wasn't about to do what he's about to do, which is that, okay, you want her. I don't know why you want her. You say you want her gone because, you say that she's manipulating all of us. Cool, fine. I'll kill her and give you the body as proof. But because I only have your word that that's what you want, I'm not giving you the asset that we have. So, even if he wasn't about to try and do what he's about to try and do, I think that's actually a pretty solid, weird middle ground to reach under the circumstances.
Yep. Well, we
and it's one she agrees to.
Yes.
So
yes. We cut to Starbuck running into Adama with some Marines, as well as who we think is Toomer on a gurney, or at least we're supposed to think. Starbuck sort of tries to apologize, and Admiral says, "I'll take it from here." Yep. But then we cut to Dee and Billy together over Lee. And Dee is trying to talk Billy down because Billy is clearly looking to play hero. He's like, I see what you're trying to do. You think you can get that gun. You have nothing to prove. You're not a soldier.
There is a song, I think it's from the 60s or 70s, that's called Billy Don't Be a Hero.
Yeah.
And that started going through my head.
Yeah. Well, maybe he should have listened to it.
Don't be a hero.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, They open up the hatch to give the body to the terrorists. They say anything goes wrong, we start killing hostages. Billy stands up to watch. The terrorists look at the dead body. It clearly looks like Sharon, but then they realize that this is actually Boomer's body because they find
there's a moment you skipped over because they uncover the face and Sesha shoots her in the head. And she even says, that's it, we're done, let's go. So, like, for her, it really does, for all her high-minded, this is about the danger to the fleet or whatever, it did really seem to be about revenge.
Yes, it was very much about revenge.
But it was the other guy, I guess her brother-in-law, who's like, hang on a second, pulls more of the sheet back and sees, like, the autopsy where she's been cut open and sewn back up, and he's like, this body's been dead for weeks.
But then so she says, all right, kill the girlfriend, presumably meaning D. And then there's a whole gunfight that happens. Marines come in and shoot the terrorist, but Billy tries to, I think, grab one of the guns and shoot the terrorist and gets shot himself. So
yeah, he does successfully get his hands on a gun. He might have even managed to shoot one of them, but he then, gets shot.
He gets shot. Dee runs to Billy. Adama goes to Lee and says, can you hear me, Lee? And then we cut back to Billy. Billy is dead, Deaderson.
I could not help but smirk at watching Dee abandon her love interest who's been shot to go to her other love interest who's just been shot.
Yeah. Poor actress. I feel bad for her.
Well, I'm just like, in terms of the torn between two potential lovers thing, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards.
Well, anyways, we cut to a little while later. Adama is standing over Boomer's body, the one from before, and Rosalind comes in to see Billy's dead body. And sort of talks to him, like, this is what you gave them, and Adama clearly sort of understanding the cost to Rosalind says it was a calculated risk, and Rosalind says it wasn't worth it. She goes and sits by Billy, and she cries for a second, but then touches up his hair, and then says he was so young. I will note, this is just something, it's not a big deal, I just thought it was funny. In one shot where we're looking at the Billy's dead body, I could notice the actor's eye moving underneath his lid. So
I remember, I think it was the director's commentary on New Nightmare, where Wes Craven was talking about how there's a scene in a morgue and a guy, whose body is having to be looked at, and he's like, yeah, we had to use such short shots whenever we showed him because he's just one of those guys where every beat of his heart, you can see it ripple through his body. It was so hard to get anything where it wasn't clearly obvious that he was alive. Because if you want somebody who's only going to play a dead body, you get a mime. You get somebody trained in mime, somebody who can really freeze up. But when you have to have a character who's been played by a more standard actor, and then you have to show them on the slab, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that happens.
Yes. And then we cut to Lee holding Dee's hand, Dee holding Lee's hand as he wakes up in the med bay, and saying, when you're feeling better, we can talk. And Lee's like, it was a hell of a vacation. And then she's, Lee, you can't leave. You have to stay here. You really have to stay. Because I ain't got no other boyfriend now, is basically the vibe. Starbuck is also watching from a distance, feeling guilty. Yep.
That was the detail that was fucking A. Look, at this point I accepted, okay, the overarching motivation for this episode to even exist was to get Billy killed. Just like I'm sure the initial motivation for creating Black Market was to find a reason to kill Fisk. I am sure the starting nugget from this is, well, we don't know what we're doing with Billy, and none of us are interested in him as a character anymore. We need to kill him. Figure out a way to kill him. So, Dee ending up with Lee, I still call bullshit on all of it, and I hate it, but it's fine, whatever. But the fact they put Starbuck in the background, looking at this in that sort of, oh, I I guess there's no place for me way, which was the exact same fucking thing they did with Lee like 3 episodes ago when he was looking at Billy and Dee in the exercise space, and like it was the shot of him in the distance being all like, oh, I guess there's no it's just the same fucking thing again.
I will say I didn't read it like that. I read it more like Starbuck was just watching feeling guilty. Like, I didn't necessarily read it as like oh, I wish I could be there with my boyfriend sort of thing.
Maybe that was the point, but the fact that it visually rhymed with that earlier scene, like, that clocked so much harder for me. I actually had kind of forgot that she was the one who shot him because it reminded me of that so hard.
Yeah, I think it was more like she just feels guilty for him getting shot rather than the romance
I'm
of
sure
it.
that was the intention, not where my brain went. And it's because you did this shot with Lee and it meant something else last time.
Yeah. Well,
again, like, this show is training me into some of the problems that I'm having, like how it has trained me to forget that Hilo exists whenever he's not on screen.
We do get one last little beat here at the end, though, where Toomer is lying in her cell and we get a little bit of menacing music. So,
which, I mean, that's fine. I mean, like, her scenes with Adama with some of the best stuff in it, which was also the case last episode. My favorite stuff was
Toomer's great.
Yeah, I'd like they're using. I'm liking what they're doing with her right now. They are using her sparsely but effectively. I have a feeling that I'm probably gonna like the use of her up until she gives birth to the freaking Messiah. That I'm probably gonna hate. But I suspect that up until that happens, I'm probably gonna like what they do with her because they're on a good trajectory.
Yeah. Well, this is episode 16, right? What is this?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so that means 17. All right, 18 is, 18. Okay, we're 16, 17. Yeah, I forget what next episode is, but 18 is where things start getting interesting. So that's what I'll say for that.
Thank God.
We got one more to go through. Anyways, what did you think of this episode? I'm not going to do a spoiler minute. There's not much to say otherwise. Yeah.
Like, this is the epitome of a skip it. Not because it's necessarily atrocious or terrible or character breaking, but it's like, who cares?
Yeah. The literal only thing is just Billy kicks it.
Yeah, the only important thing is Billy's dead. Other than that, who cares? Like, there's little moments. Like, there was actually a surprising amount of depth brought to Sesha. I'm going to credit a fair amount of that to the actress and the way that she played it. She was able to give some depth to what is really a pretty one-note character who's dead by the end of this. But, you know, the scene with Toomer and Adama, like, or even the scene with Ellen being all like, oh yeah, monogamy's not for us, is it, Lee? Like, even that silly, ridiculous bullshit. Like, there are little moments that I'm latching onto and clinging on for dear life.
Yeah.
Because that's my freaking life vest right now. But, like, they are the minority of what's going on because so much of the rest of it is plots I don't care about involving characters who are just here for the sake of the plot that I don't care about, and stuff that the show should be interrogating, like the fact that Cloud9 is a luxury freaking yacht of a ship again. And I know the show will never interrogate that. So, like, ultimately my takeaway from this episode is who fucking cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with all that said, I agree with you. This is just a very much skip it. I don't really have many opinions on this episode other than Billy's dead, which saddens me because I liked Billy, but Billy's dead now.
I did too, but it is also super obvious that they didn't know what to do with him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they ran out of actual arcs for him like half a season ago.
I will say his death does make way for a character I do really like as well. This isn't really a spoiler. You'll see her in like an episode or two, but the character who takes Billy's job working for Roslyn, is played by Rekha Sharma, who's an actress I really like. And she will be a decently important character as the show goes on. So, you know, she's not like one of my favorites of all time, but I think she's got a little bit more stuff going on than Billy did. So
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, this is part of why I tend to rail against, especially romantic subplots for side characters.
Mm-hmm.
It is so common that once that is initiated, the writer's room runs out of things to do with them. Because it's pretty standard that most writers' rooms, I mean, most writers as individuals, but most writers' rooms in general, and we talked about this when we did Babylon 5, they love to write courting, and they are so reluctant to write an actual established, ongoing, stable relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They like messy relationships and they like courting.
Mm-hmm.
But when you take a character, especially a character who is a supporting character by nature, and you put them in a romantic situation where most of what you're doing with them is that, then the instant the writer's room gets bored with it because the courting period isn't that fun anymore and they're kind of past that point, then they don't know what to do with the freaking characters anymore.
Yeah.
And they write them out or they kill them off. Like, this is one of the major things as to why romantic subplots drive me crazy, which is it becomes a crutch for what to do with a character, but also writers get bored with it. And then they suddenly have a disposable character.
Yeah, it's like a cat with a mouse, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. This could have been somebody. He could have had actual journeys and arcs, like his position, close to Rosalind. He could have been having parallel or even contradictory arcs to her. He could have been having different assessments of the political situations than her. They could have started to actually disagree on things. You could have gone any number of directions, but no, you reduced him down to this relationship, and then you got bored with the relationship, so you killed him.
Yes, which is again what Rekha Sharma kind of brings. She has a bit more of a personality than Billy kind of does. So yeah,
that'll help.
Yeah. Again, we're getting to the part of the show where I actually am interested.
Yeah,
I promise. Billy's fine.
Personality was probably best summed up as sweet boy.
Yes, he was the sweet boy. Yeah,
and which is fine. I likes me a sweet boy. I'm dating one, but also like, that can't be your only thing.
Yeah. Again, we're almost there. Vera. We're almost there. 2 more episodes. Next week, we got 1 more. I don't even know I legitimately just do not remember next week's episode. Could be fine. It's probably going to be a forgettable, whatever, one-off thing.
I feel like you owe me something. You owe me booze.
I do. We're almost there. We're so close. Just episode 18. I swear to God.
Okay. I'm trusting you right now. God damn it, man.
Yeah. Well, there will be, it won't necessarily be in episode 18. There'll be a distinct shift in this show. And, it'll be interesting.
I am waiting for that because right now, like, it's not like the show has crashed and burned, but it has been slowly sinking like the Titanic.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's something that I said this before. Ronald D. Moore admitted this. Like, between the Pegasus stuff and where the season ends, the writers did not know what to do for a while, so they were just doing these one-off spinning their wheels. Like, this is a noted thing that even the writer of the show was like, yeah, it is what it is. It's fine, but it's kind of here.
And like there has been one actually decent episode out of all these standalones, and that was Scar.
Mm-hmm.
And even that one, as I said at the time, it even works better in isolation than it does in context. Yes. But like, I was still that is a good, solid episode. The rest of these have just been fucking whatever, man.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there will be. I'm just dancing around and I'm giving away too much. There will be a trajectory for this show going forward that will be clearly give it momentum. So
yeah. And yet somehow the nothing episodes are Lee's best stuff. What the
I
hell,
know. Lee's
man?
turned out to be, like, even in this shit of an episode, Lee turns out to be fine. He comes out looking, besides getting shot, he comes out looking pretty good.
Which, like, not his fault. They because the writers undid the other characters' arc from last whatever.
Yeah, we're getting into a Franklin situation where, like, Lee's turning out to be decent.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he can hold on to it.
Yeah.
Because for anyone who didn't listen to our Babylon 5 podcast, I hated Franklin for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It took a while. He did turn around eventually, and a lot of that had to do with an absolutely preposterous bit of headcanon that I came up with that I stick with. But I also know is logistically ridiculous and 100% never intended. But I don't know. It gave me a hook in, and it helped Franklin grow on me. Maybe we'll get a Lee situation. Maybe
Lee is just a trans woman.
maybe I can headcanon Lee as trans too.
He's got the vibe. He's got that trans woman vibe. I can see it. I can see a little egg cracking, you know? Anyways, that's everything that I have. So, stuff time?
Stuff. You want to find my stuff, look for Council of Geeks. The Patreon is what pays the bills, and the main thing that supports is the Council of Geeks YouTube channel. Spread the word. I don't expect to, but there's at least the possibility I could break 100,000 before the year's over. Subscribers on the YouTube. I won't, but maybe I can manifest it somehow. But check me out there. New videos every single Saturday. That's the main channel. There's also the Break Room of Geeks, where I have been reviewing Alien Earth and Peacemaker and Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Speaking of people shoving people into relationships and not know what to do with characters.
God damn, man.
Have you watched 4.5 Vulcans yet?
Not yet.
I need that rant. Vera.
As well as whatever else I have watched, listened to, played, or read lately. That all goes up in the break room. You can also find Council of Geeks on Blue Sky. That is the geeky stuff. There is, of course, also the spicy stuff. And for that, you can look for Vera Wild. Wild is spelled W-Y-L-D-E. And you will find increasingly spicy content on YouTube. TikTok. One random thing about this that made me laugh. So, you can imagine on these and platforms on which I promote this kind of stuff, I get a fair amount of DMs.
Yeah.
And, it's what you expect. And to be clear, folks, you're fine to send them. I'm not grossed out, and I'm not going to block you. I understand what I'm putting out there, and people give that energy back. But I also, as a general rule, don't respond to them. Just because I get a lot, and what am I going to do? Just say, I'm really glad I made you hard to, 50 times a day? No, that's boring for me. That having been said, I did reply to a DM that I got on Pornhub because the person who DM'd me asked who my favorite doctor was. So there was something really endearing about getting a geeky question on a spicy site.
Who do you think would be the hottest doctor to have sex with?
Well, see, I'm not a great person to ask that question because I prefer my doctors asexual, and I headcanon most of them as being such.
Yeah. I can see that. It's definitely Sylvester McCoy though. Anyways, you can find me.
I mean, if there was a doctor who was going to tie me up,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It is definitely Sylvester McCoy.
That's what I'm saying.
you do need to see his stuff. You will legitimately
of what I know of all the personalities of all of the older doctors, he is the one that I am most intrigued by, even more than Tom Baker, which is the one that everyone loves. So
Tom Baker is charming and wonderful, but Sylvester McCoy is
I've seen clips of his stuff, and I'm like, he brings the darker side energy that I love so much from David Tennant's run. So those are the best.
Sylvester McCoy is great, but also I would actually compare him a little bit more to the times that Matt Smith would get dark, because he could be very loose and very charming, but then his face just goes dark. And you're like, oh. Shit.
yes. That cut to the lighting's changed and everything's scary now.
Yeah, except Classic Who, they had zero budget, so they didn't do a lighting change on him. He just had to do it in camera, in shot.
Yeah, no, he's the one that I would want to listen to. The closest I've gotten to watching a lot of the old Doctors is I've listened to all of the Eighth Doctor's audio dramas. That's where I've gone. So
I like McGann.
McGann's
great.
Fun. No, I love his. I like his audio dramas a lot. He's very good. Anyways, You can find me at Jesse Gender, find my video essay type of stuff on Jesse Gender on YouTube. I'm going to have a bunch of Star Trek related video essays coming out in the very near future. I'm just weirdly wrapping them up in backwards order. I have basically 2 done. There's a 3rd one coming, but the 3rd one releases first. So it's going to be a whole thing. But anyways.
Welcome to the bizarre habits of people who don't have weekly upload schedules.
Yeah, I know. It was just one of those weird things where I wrote the Ferengi one, finished it, and was like, ooh, I have an idea that'll be a good lead into this one, and then wrote that one, and then I went, ooh, this will be a good lead into the this one, and then wrote the one after it. So I like weirdly worked backwards. Anyway,
reverse trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, you can find me at Just Gender. Those video essays will be coming out soon. You can also go on my Patreon where those video essays will be up, especially the latter 2 will be up several weeks earlier. In fact, one of them is already up right now as of recording, and has been there for about a month and will probably be there for about another month longer before it releases publicly. You can also find me at Just Gender After Dark where I'm doing news, reviews, reactions, all the same stuff that Vera's reviewing. I am reviewing. I am also on Nebula, which is the streaming service that houses my movie identities, as well as the series Subliminal, which will be releasing next year, that I directed an episode of and actually will be editing with my editor doing my director's cut next week, so I'm excited for that. I am on Blue Sky and Instagram, already mentioned the Patreon, so that is everything for me. Anything else, Vera?
Nah.
Alrighty then, with all that said, I hope y'all live long and prosper.
Be seeing you.